Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for joining Wonder Wonder Repeat. Today we have Cindy Pope on from Northology Adventures, and she's also the event coordinator for Keweenaw Overland Adventure Retreat. So stay tuned. We're going to find out what's going on up in her neck of the woods. Hello, Cindy.
Hello, Cara. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm wonderful.
Sipping your warm cup of goodness over there. I understand you're up north. You're further up north than I am. I am in Arkansas. Where are you at?
I'm in northern Illinois.
And it's pretty chilly there, huh?
It's a balmy 48 degrees. It was spitting snow a little bit.
What?
It snowed yesterday.
Like legit snow?
Legit snow. It didn't stay, but the snow actually you could hear it. It was so like crispy and that pellet kind of stuff. Yeah. It's here.
Snow.
Winter is here.
Do you get snow are y'all guaranteed snow there?
Yeah, we get snow every year, a lot of it. Sometimes we wonder if we'll have a white Christmas, but we always get lots of snow.
See, sometimes we get snow, and then sometimes the weatherman calls for snow, and all the schools cancel anyways. That's just how we rolled out here. Like bread and milk is gone quick. People panic, and I'm like, no, bring it on. So let us know in the comments, everybody, if y'all like the snow, if y'all like the summer. But anyways, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us who you are.
I am just a weirdo that likes to be in the woods.
Aren't we all?
Yeah. When I was a child, my parents could afford vacations to state parks because they were free. Yeah. And so we go camping. And so I always tease my dad that this is all his fault. But really it is. He took us camping and fishing and hiking and all that good stuff as kids. And it's weird because I love the outdoors, and my brother he doesn't really care for it.
Oh, really? So when y'all camped, did y'all go like tent camping, or did y'all have a camper?
Oh, we had tent camping to begin with. We ended up with a really cool pop-up camper for a while.
You had a pop-up camper, like one that you had to crank?
No, it was really cool because it was like almost like a book. Like it would open. I can't even do it. It would open like a book. Like the whole tent would be
like one of the pop-up books.
Yeah, and the tent. It was the canvas. It was really cool. It had a zip-on annex, which was as big as the camper too, and it was super, super light. In fact, light enough to be towed by our 1976 Pinto.
Oh, wow. I don't even know what a Pinto is, unless you're talking about beans and chili.
Oh, it's a tiny Ford car, hatchback that was infamous for exploding when rear-ended because the gas tank was so close to the back.
Really?
But, yeah, but it was a hatchback, and I have to mention, this is the most epic trip I remember as a child. We took that Pinto and that pop-up camper and a canoe and my brother, my uncle, and our dog Tippy to South Dakota.
From Illinois.
From Illinois. I didn't know at the time. When I found out as an adult, we were actually supposed to go to Glacier National Park, but we ran out of money in South Dakota.
What did you find in South Dakota?
Well, my mom had an uncle that lived there, so we stopped and visited the uncle. And for the longest time, I thought, oh, what a great trip to visit Uncle Floyd. That was so cool. And then I realized that as an adult, we were supposed to go to Glacier, and we never made it. So
That's
Little,
awesome. I love the little stories though that you wouldn't have any idea because you thought it was the greatest time.
yeah, I just thought like, oh, remember that trip to South Dakota, the Badlands, and this and that, and like, oh yeah, that was a great trip, kids.
Little did you know that the
Little do I
glacier.
know,
Have
yeah.
you been to Glacier?
I have not, no.
I want to go so bad. That's one of the ones that's so far away from us that it's hard to just get to because Matt's like we have to like be dedicated to go that long
Yeah,
of a drive.
you have to make the commitment. It is
Yeah,
quite a ways.
because Yellowstone's the same. Like I want to go see Yellowstone too.
Yeah.
Just to get all up in there and see those things. So
Well, my husband was at Glacier with his family as a child.
okay.
And he said that his grandmother was very paranoid of bears. And she says to Grandpa, I think I hear a noise. It's probably a bear. He's like, oh, it's not a bear. No, I hear something. I bet you it's a bear. No, there's no bears. And a bear ran at that moment, as if on cue, through the campground, through the campsite.
Grandma was like, no.
Yeah. She never let him forget that.
I have every year that we go to Colorado, I have always wanted to see a bear. I've never seen a bear. And so I was just like, I want to see one. And I know we have bears in Arkansas. It's not that big of a deal. But it's just something about going out on a trip and you see a bear. Like it's like you're part of the wild, you know? And so we went to Colorado. Well, first we went to Moab. Actually, this year we went to Colorado. We stayed a little bit, didn't see anything. We saw some moose, which at this point, moose are cool. We see them all the time. They're
I've never
such
seen
little,
moose.
oh my gosh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, they're so cool.
I
Matt, so
bet.
the first year that we went there, we had seen all these deer and we got to the campground and Matt, he's unpacking the camper and all this stuff. And I'm like, not moving. And it's like, babe, get your camera. You're going to want your camera. And so he goes and gets his camera and he's thinking, oh, it's just a deer. And no, like from here to probably about 20, 30 yards is a mama moose and her baby.
Wow.
And, moose are like real protective. And so Matt, of course, the idiot that he is, he goes and he's like, I'm going to get it. And so he like starts going like gets his back to trees and goes from tree to like, and he's like real close to this mama. Like we got some great pictures, but he was dumb because he's lucky that moose didn't charge.
They are huge.
Oh, they're massive, but they just look like cartoon characters. They just look so goofy, They look like they wouldn't hurt you, but they really would. But yeah, so I wanted to see a bear, and so we went to Colorado a little bit this year. Didn't see a bear, saw some moose, but then we went to Utah and we saw a bear, and I was just so excited, so excited. And then we saw another bear, and all of that's been in Utah. Which you think Utah desert, you're not going to see any bear because. I don't know. I feel like Colorado is where bears should be.
Yeah, you have a point.
That's just me.
Absolutely.
But anyway, so what you got into overlanding because of your grandpa or your grandparent, your dad or your grandpa?
I got camping because of my dad.
Okay. So do y'all still go camping before he's still with us or?
He's still with us and he does come camping. He's how old is he now? He'll be 75. And yeah, he'll come camping. He went with us I think this past summer. Mm-hmm. Yes, we were up in the UP. We went whitewater rafting on the Menominee River. We went to True North Outpost. Yeah, and he came. He's got a little YJ Jeep.
Okay.
And he's got a tent. And he puts his little tent up, and he's got a little blow-up mattress. It's so cute. Aww. And yeah, he camped once. It was pretty cold too. He wasn't happy about that. I think he skipped out early on that, but he's still pretty adventurous. In fact, we're having he lives about 4 hours north of me in Wisconsin and up in the woods.
Wisconsin.
Yeah, and so I regularly use his place as like a base camp. Okay. And so I'm bringing a bunch of Wisconsin Overland folks up there for a Christmas tree hunt. And he'll go out with us in his little Jeep. It's so cute. And he has a blast. So that's
awesome.
Yeah, it's fun that he's still having fun with us.
Yeah, that's super inspiring too, just to know that he's, getting out there and doing it in his little Jeep and just having a blast at his age, even. Like, that's what we want to do at our age.
Yeah, and everybody loves his dad jokes, or at least they pretend
Does he have
to.
dad jokes at
Oh,
80s?
his dad jokes are so, so bad, and it's terrible. I'm very close with my dad. We've done, mountain biking together. We used to
Yeah.
whitewater canoe together. He was like my adventure buddy for forever. And we're so close, and I've really picked up a lot of his bad joke habits. And
Oh.
one of my friends asked me after I had told a particularly bad dad joke, he said, "How are you not a dad?" I'm like, well, besides the obvious, uh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's so awesome. It's a blessing to have him still with us, and
Yeah.
I mean, he'll probably outlive me, but he does
Don't say
still
that.
love the outdoors, and yeah.
So you said he has a Jeep. So what kind of vehicle do you drive?
Right now I have a a
Is it not a
'96.
Pinto, is it?
No, it's not a Pinto, but you could probably fit a Pinto in the side of it. It's a '96 E350
Okay.
Ford van with a Quigley conversion, so it's a four-wheel drive.
Okay.
It's on 33s.
Okay.
Um,
I think I have a picture. Let's see.
yeah. Oh, there it is.
There you go.
That is our trip this past spring. We went down to the Daniel Boone Backcountry Byway with Jeremiah and Renee and
Okay.
Kate and Jordan. And that's
Now, where's
before we
that
get.
at? The Daniel Boone.
It's in Kentucky,
Okay.
east of Lexington,
Okay.
um, in the Red River Gorge area.
Okay. Matt's only
And
been to Land Between the Lakes there.
it's a couple few hours east of there.
Okay.
And it was so cool. It was springtime, the red buds and the dogwoods
Oh,
were
that's
blooming.
gorgeous.
And yeah, it was beautiful. And a funny thing too, it's an hour, if you go an hour farther east,
Mm-hmm.
is where my grandfather's from.
Oh.
So there's a little family history there that I actually never met any of my grandfather's family.
Okay.
So I have
That's
to
way
make
cool.
it back there and go over there.
Yeah, that's way cool. And where was this one that you took?
That one was up in the UP, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
Okay.
I scheduled a trip for the Michigan Overland group, and I took them from the Munising area over past Marquette through the Huron Mountains and up to the Keweenaw.
Is that part of this one too?
Nope, that was a Wisconsin Overland
It's like,
trip in
find
April.
Cindy. Where is Cindy? It's like, where's Waldo?
Oh, I feel like it, but I love it. I mean, I'm part of a lot of different groups, and then,
Hmm.
just with our own business that we do trips with, it's fun to meet people and, do different things, different places. They're all have their own unique charms and,
Oh yeah.
different. It's funny. People are always like, "Oh, I'm going to come up and go overlanding in the UP in January," and I don't think people realize that there's going to be like 6 feet of snow. It's just not possible. And the people that live up there are like, yeah, come try, have
Let
fun.
us know how it
But
goes.
like snow removal is a daily thing up in the UP.
Yeah.
Like in the Keweenaw, it probably snows like 90% of the days.
Oh wow.
And that lake effect stuff, they just get dumped on 10 inches at a time.
Yeah. That's
So,
crazy.
but
So
yeah,
what
I
else
just,
what all have you done to your van? Because I can see you have an awning here.
yes. We
You
have
sleep in the back?
what's that?
You sleep in the back? Or do you
Yes, we
Okay.
do.
Okay.
Our awesome friends, Chris from 1941 Adventures, built an aluminum
Oh,
platform for us in the back where we
okay.
sleep. There's a mattress on the top,
Hmm.
and then underneath, there's a little dog kennel area and storage. And
Hmm.
then you can see the awning there with the awning room, which is really necessary for bug season.
Do you get a lot of bugs up north?
Oh,
Really?
dude. The flies and the mosquitoes will drive you crazy if they don't carry you away.
I thought that was only bad down south.
No, it's
You're telling
terrible.
me it's everywhere.
It's terrible up north, and I think especially up north because a lot of the UP in northern Wisconsin, there's not much topsoil. There's a lot of bedrock, and that holds all of the moisture. There's bogs everywhere, and that means bugs everywhere.
So it just doesn't have anywhere to go, I guess.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like you'll inhale them. Like the mosquitoes get so bad in areas that you can't breathe in without.
You'll have to tell me what season that is because I will not want to be there.
Yeah, pretty much June through mid-August.
Your summertime then.
Yeah.
Summer is when it's buggy.
Yes, pretty much summer.
Gosh. So where do you guys like to go often? I know you said you're in Illinois, and you go to Wisconsin and the UP. Like, where do you go whenever you just want to get out and explore?
When I want to get out of town, like really out of town, I go to the UP. It's really, it's far away. We sometimes stop halfway up at Dad's in northern Wisconsin and use that as a springboard to go and explore. I took a few trips to southern Illinois, the Shawnee National Forest, and that is really beautiful down there. But again, you don't go in the summer because it's so hot and humid.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, we went to
Kentucky. We have an air conditioner now, though.
Oh, wow, that's fancy.
I know, we're moving up in the world.
I wouldn't know what to do with myself with air conditioning. Oh, because like we bought the Max fan for the van, right?
Yeah.
And we never cut the hole in the roof and put the fan in. And so I had this it's right here, actually. This is ridiculous. Okay. I have this USB fan.
Yeah, we have a fan like that.
And it's just here for like old lady hot flashes. That's why it's right here. But I thought, okay, I better bring this in the van. And this thing saved my husband's life this past June. Or it was July. It was so hot. We were up in Wisconsin.
It's amazing what just having a little bit of air circulation will do.
Yeah. And sometimes even just the humidity, if it's not that hot and it's humid, you just need something to move the air.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Thanks. So you go to the Upper Peninsula. Is there any place in particular that you go to, or you just like to go explore?
It's funny. I have a friend that has a camp. We like to visit there. There's a lot of fun, like just dirt roads everywhere. I used to be in love with the Munising area. It's very beautiful, but there's a national lakeshore there, and the tourism has just absolutely exploded in the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
And unless you go in the off season, which is awesome in the off season because the weather, like in September, October, the lake and the waves and the storms, it's just beautiful.
And now it's hard to figure out when the off season is.
Yeah, I mean, even then, it's town isn't empty, but it's I kind of like gravitated over towards the western end of the peninsula and the Keweenaw Peninsula a lot. You could spend your whole life exploring up there, and never see all of it. You always find something new. And I first went because it was beautiful and it was the Northwoods. Mm-hmm. And the more you go, the more history you run across in the woods or see in town, the old mining operations, the little ghost towns and the cemeteries. And it's just a really interesting place. And, 100 years ago, it was a really, really hard life up there.
Wow, I want to go so bad, but before we get into this any further, I mentioned that you were the Keweenaw Overland Adventure Retreat, or KOAR coordinator, and you the KOAR coordinator, I guess is what we could call it.
Oh, we could call it the coordinator.
The coordinator. There we go. There's your dad joke.
Yeah.
But anyways, I have Jeremiah Oswald. He shared from Overland Pioneers. He shared his video with me, and I want to give everybody like an introduction to what we're about to discuss here as far as KOAR goes. And if you're staying on the podcast, be sure to check in with the YouTube channel and also our Facebook channel, so you can actually see this video because it's really, really special. So without further ado, here we go.
Year 4 of KOAR. Everybody starts their trip to KOAR differently, but it seems over the years more and more camp their way up to Michigan. No matter how many times we cross the bridge up into Keweenaw, we still get excited to see those fall colors. What's even more exciting to us is the meeting of new and old friends. Like every year before, the pre-KOAR campout has become a tradition. Some of the faces stay the same, and some are new. Arriving to the Keweenaw early lets you relax and take in more of the area. But then it's time to pack up and head into the event. We love getting the Trails Ends campground and see the KOAR staff smiling and ready to help everybody out. We get escorted to our camp area, and all of our friends set up camp and get ready for the weekend ahead. After we get our prospective camps set up, we head over to the vendor village to see what they've got going on. Vendors come from all over, from far away to local, and TC Teardrops always comes in force. The vendor village is always the hangout hub, and there's never a lack of good people and pups to meet. This being a smaller and more personal event, you can spend as much time with the vendors as you want, asking questions. Vehicles are checked over, comms are synced, it's time to do some trail riding. And with endless miles and variety of trails, it never seems to disappoint. You can do the scenic routes, or you can get into a little bit of rock crawling. There's something for everyone up here. Every small town seems to have something unique about it, just like Gay Beach. There's a project to remove this man-made beach, so we were happy to be able to plan on it just a little bit before it's gone. If you're looking for just pretty scenery and to relax and take it easy while you're up there, look in any direction and start walking, because everywhere you go is beautiful. Right outside Trails End Campground is Copper Harbor and some of the prettiest hikes you can find. Speaking of hikes, check out the one that leads to Montreal Falls. Montreal Falls is just one of hundreds across the UP. can spend a day just going and seeing all 8 lighthouses on the Keweenaw Peninsula. This place is also a mecca for activities of the aquatic variety. Float, fish, or kayak to your heart's content. But a staple activity of KOAR is getting together at the end of the night for awesome giveaways, some adult beverages, and some fireside camaraderie. Even while at KOAR, I find myself looking at maps and finding out what I want to do for the following year. We'll see you for year 5 at KOAR 2022.
Okay. I want to go to KOAR so bad.
Isn't it beautiful?
Oh my word. I never knew those waterfalls and the hiking. And I noticed there was a cute boy driving this blue Jeep Gladiator. I'm not going to say
I know, that cute boy with the cute blue hair.
I know. He was pretty cute. Oh my gosh. But seriously, that looks amazing. And it looks so much fun, especially around it being a smaller local event. So tell us more about KOAR, Sydney.
Well, first of all, I have to say thank you to all of the attendees and for all of the vendors that support this. I mean, it is just, it's a community thing. I have a team of people that help put it on. And it's a laid back event, and we have like certain hours that vendors are open so that the vendors can actually come out and have fun with us on the trails, or they can go do mountain biking. We had some vendors that did mountain biking. There's guided kayak trips. We get one of the outfits in town gives us a big discount. And oh, look at those.
Everybody's loving it.
Yeah, it is so much fun. And I have to pause here, and I might get choked up a little bit.
Yeah, tell us about it.
I met this, well, you know, you're talking in a Facebook group, and there was this fellow named Rob Azarowicz. I hope I'm saying his name right. And he was working at a place called Northology Adventures. They have camping for, they run an adult, or a youth camp through the summer. And they had this really neat venue, and they had these platform tents set up, and they have cabins, and he always talked about having people come up there from the group. And I actually went and visited him once and met him, and he said, "Oh, go here and go there while you're up here." And the wheels just started turning, and I couldn't even wait to get back home and send him a message like, "Rob, we got to get people together, and we got to get them together at North Winds." And so we met, and we hatched a plan. I brought a few friends up there, and it turned into KOAR. And he moved back to Green Bay from Houghton, so he kind of dropped out of the actual running and planning of the event. But he was always a big help and a big supporter and a big cheerleader. And he passed away yesterday, and my heart's just broken. He came to KOAR this past September, and he had cancer for a couple of years. And I was so touched that he made the effort to come out, and it was so awesome to see him. And but you know, hey, Rob,
this is for you, bud.
This one's for you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss him a lot, and my heart goes out to his family. But I bring up Rob, you know, obviously because of what has happened recently, but from the beginning, he always wanted it to be about community. He wanted people to come together. In the beginning, we did, you know, a meal together. He wanted people to sit down and get to know each other and become friends and network. And that's really what it's become. You know, people now, we have friends that people come back. We've had people from Vermont and New Jersey and Idaho. And
that's one thing that everybody has said something about it, is how intimate it is. It's a very small little place that you can all fit. As you can see in the videos, there's only so much room that you have. But that's what makes it even more great, because I've always heard that love is built in small houses, just because you have these really, really small, compact, you're forced to get to know each other, and you're forced to be able to be around and involved with each other. And I just love that.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Although we may have a small house, we have a giant bonfire.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's really awesome. This past year, there were a lot of new people there this year. Chris from More Expo
I saw him in the
asked
video.
for a show of hands, like
Yeah.
who has never been to KOAR before, and there were a lot of hands that were raised, and I had a lot of people come up and say, thank you and your team for putting this on. It really, a lot of people that hadn't done anything overlandy, so to speak, getting out and having an opportunity. And I kind of do like, there's something for everyone. You don't have to have a big built rig.
Right.
And in
or
fact,
a rig at all if you can go
or a rig at
kayaking.
all. Yeah.
If you just love the outdoors.
Absolutely. I had at one point my cousins came and they didn't go out on a trail ride at all. They went bike riding and paddling, and you could use it as a base camp just to do adventures that you don't normally get to do anywhere else.
If it wasn't so cold, we're supposed to be leaving for New Mexico tomorrow night. I would want to go there, honestly, but it'd be a little too cold. I can't handle the cold.
I'm going to
It's
tell
be real
you.
Cold.
This is a little secret. You can even bring a lowered car if you want. That is true.
Fletch.
You're crazy, Fletch.
He's so crazy.
As beautiful as everyone thinks that the Keweenaw Peninsula or the Upper Peninsula is in the summer or in the fall, my favorite season there is actually winter.
Really?
It is so breathtakingly gorgeous.
That's because it's literally taking your breath away.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Hey, Todd. I have to say, shout out to Todd. He has been our title sponsor for the past couple of years, and I'm going to let the cat out of the bag and announce right here and now that they are title sponsors for 2022 as well.
Yay!
Todd with TC Teardrops. Todd and Carol were at the very first meeting with Rob.
That's
back
awesome.
in November of 2017, when we all huddled around this way too tiny fire, and the wind was just ripping, and it was spitting rain, and this little tiny fire, we were huddled around it trying to keep warm. But yeah, the winter is beautiful. There's skiing, there's fat tire biking, there's snowshoeing. We took a snowshoe hike along the lake. It was just mind-blowingly gorgeous.
Is it really cold there right now, or is it just kind of cold but no snow?
Right now, I could tell you. Right now,
because this is it takes place in Copper Harbor.
Copper Harbor, yes. Right now it's 39 degrees and cloudy.
Okay.
Yeah. They're about maybe a little bit colder than us in northern Illinois, but they get so much snow. They have a little snowmometer as you drive up towards Copper Harbor, and it gives you an idea. It shows you 300 inches tall.
Oh, wow.
That's like the average snowfall.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
That's serious.
It's a lot.
Hey, real quick, Cindy. So Lee Gibson, she said that she took her mom to St. Germain, Wisconsin in early October a few years ago. Have no clue where that's at, but it sounds fun. It says we lived at a base camp. Where's your favorite place to go in the forest in the Upper Peninsula or Upper Wisconsin?
Oh, I know where St. Germain is. We like to the Chequamegon Nicolet National Forest used to be two forest units that they combined into one. And the Nicolet is in the northeastern part of Wisconsin, and she's probably closer to the Chequamegon, which is in like the central northwest.
This is making me want a shawarma.
It's funny if you see the word spelled too. I always love to see people pronounce Chequamegon for the first time. It looks like Chequamegon.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I'd be like Chuck Norris. I don't know.
I love the Nicolet over by Lakewood and Leona. It's not very popular. It's very sparsely populated.
I like where
and
it's not popular.
yeah, the towns are small. It's not really touristy. Um, it's very beautiful. That's one of my favorites. Of course, we have a family cabin, and my dad lives in the inside. Actually, there's a little neighborhood inside the Nicolay that he lives in, and then in the UP. I mean, obviously, I love the Keweenaw Peninsula. Um, Munising area is very beautiful. Um, it's very Porcupine Mountains are gorgeous. Central, I mean, you
Throw a dart.
can't go wrong. It's like 98% forested up there. There's little lakes everywhere. There's little back roads, dirt roads, national forest roads
Now, is it all?
everywhere.
Is it pretty much all? See, here in Arkansas, we have what's called the motor vehicle use map, where you have to follow that to find out what the legal trails are. So, is it like that in the Upper Peninsula?
It is in areas in the Upper Peninsula. There is the Hiawatha National Forest and the
Okay.
Ottawa National Forest. Ottawa's
Okay.
over kind of like on the middle to the eastern part, and the am I getting that right? I get them mixed up. Hiawatha's over there.
It's
Ottawa's
either
over
that
here.
or it's the opposite. We'll
Yeah.
go with that.
And then in the Nicolay National Forest, yes, they have motor vehicle use maps. So
Okay.
you know, we look at the open dates for that. But in the Keweenaw, it's all state forest.
Oh, okay.
So and most of the roads are public roads or county roads.
Now, what I heard in the video that gay beach that they were all driving on, they're about to like not make it a beach anymore.
Well, here I'll tell you the story about the gay beach.
Okay.
There was a mill there probably 100 years ago that hey Michael. Oh, what an awesome comment. Hey, much love, man. That's awesome. But anyway, Gay, there's a town called Gay, and there was a mill there where they would crush up the rock for the iron ore, or the copper ore to get it out of there. And the waste rock, they would just shoot it out onto the shore. And so, heck yeah, snowshoeing there is great. So there's tons and tons, metric tons and tons of this waste rock that's made sort
The
of
black
a
rock
beach
there.
there. Yeah.
Okay.
So what's happening with that is it's drifting out into the lake. Every big storm comes and takes some of it away. And it's affecting, I guess, some fish breeding habitats. So there's an environmental remediation effort. They this past year, there used to be a big, like 20-foot tall sand cliff. That had been removed. I don't know, they pumped it out. There was all sorts of like equipment and big tubes and stuff where they pumped a lot of that out. So it's an ongoing effort. And I don't know. Hey, August. I don't know if there is a timeline. I'm sure there's budget issues, but they do. The local authorities and I think the indigenous population there use that. You know, they go fishing and stuff, and they want to take care of that. So it will eventually not be there anymore.
Gotcha.
So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. But it looks just so gorgeous. So you have all these vendors that can go and do all these things as far as off-roading too. And I know that y'all meet up at the point. And I think I have a picture of your van at the point that they all camped at. Is that right?
That is true. That's out at High Rock Bay. Yep.
It's like a tradition to go and camp there the night before.
It really has become a tradition. You know, it's a long ways to get to Copper Harbor, and a lot of people need to come up the day before, and the event doesn't open officially until 2 p.m. So, they come up, they camp there the night before, they go do a bunch of fun stuff, and then come check in at KOAR.
So KOAR, it starts at 2 p.m. Is it like do you know the dates yet for 2022?
I do. It's September 15th through the 18th.
I have to look at my schedule now. I'm going to
put it on the calendar.
That's right. So you said September one more time.
15th through the 18th. So it's a Thursday afternoon through Sunday morning.
So it starts at 2 p.m. on that 15th?
Yes, and 2 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay.
It's funny,
Yeah.
the ticket thing will say 2 p.m. Eastern time, and then it changes it to your local time. And so people show up at 1 o'clock because
Matt,
it's
yeah,
changed it to Central.
Matt was doing that. He
Yeah.
had no clue that it changed the time because I think he was driving in and his class or something had that day. I don't know what he was, but anyways, the time switched and he was like, "Oh crap! I hope I'm not late."
Yeah.
Kevin Peterson said, "Cindy, he never got my sweatshirt order confirmation." I don't know what that means.
Oh, I'm not sure either.
You need a sweatshirt for Keweenaw?
If you're
Maybe
talking,
is it this sweatshirt? Because look, I got the
if you're
Northology.
talking about the store right now, we have a store running, like an online store,
Okay.
for some Northology merchandise.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I will ask the guy at Uper Shirts tomorrow about that, Kevin.
So you also do Northology. So explain what the Northology Adventures.
Oh,
You do a little bit of everything,
I'm gonna
Cindy.
bore everybody for a really sit back, grab a cup of coffee. No,
Go get you a drink.
it started many years ago. I had this cool little phone that took really good pictures, and I couldn't stop taking pictures. And I love taking pictures of my adventures in the woods, camping, hiking, kayaking, biking. And then this platform came along where you could share those pictures. And I thought, one of these days I'm going to turn it into something. And I had, built up some followers on the old Instagram. And then I started doing the KOAR events.
That was MySpace back in the day.
Yeah. Well, I was so challenged that I didn't get the MySpace thing. I totally just I ain't doing that. But anyway,
I had a MySpace.
Yeah,
I don't even know if that's.
I kind of was jealous of the MySpace thing because my friend had one. I'm like, oh, you can put your own music on it, and anyway. But yeah, I just started doing the events. We've done some smaller events, winter events, some whitewater rafting trips and things like that. But it's funny. At the beginning of the pandemic, I had this, it was 2020. I've got this whole schedule of things we're going to do. And the pandemic hits.
And then it's just
I had to cancel events early on, obviously. We had we were going to do this camp cooking thing. This guy that works at the restaurant with Chad was going to come out and do Dutch oven fried chicken and show us how to make that. And, certified chef out in the woods. That he loved camp too. But yeah, so I'm like, I gotta, from March to April and May and June.
Still going, yeah.
Just done, nothing.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of time on my hands, and I had some friends, my friend Christopher and my friend Doug, a couple other people had always said, you should do a magazine. And I'm like, nobody reads magazines anymore. But the slowdown, the pandemic kind of, I thought, well, I got time. Let's research. How do I do this? So I started it, and that was I think the first issue came out in May or June of 2020.
Okay.
And grew from about 30 pages to now we're doing 60, 70 pages a month.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And again, a thank you and shout out here to all of the people that support this, the advertisers. Every month I add one or two. And it's just, I don't know. Obviously I write for it every once in a while, but mostly it's contributed content from people that I know or have seen something. And I thought, hey, I love this. For a long time, we had Delia Moe with Mo Leisure Adventures. She was writing stuff every month about full-time overlanding. Yeah. And I miss you, Delia.
Shout out to Delia.
And we've had a lot of cool things, like my friend Mark with UP Jeeping and my friend Asa. And then this month, we're going to have something about hammock camping in the winter with my friend Jimmy. Yeah. So it's just a lot of different stuff. And it's not just overlanding stuff. It's overlanding, but also, thank you, Nathan. That means so much, man. Mountain biking, we've had just all sorts of different astrophotography things.
Oh, I love astrophotography. Yeah. So the first you mentioned camping or hammocking in the winter. So that's actually one of the first trips that me and Matt took as a dating couple. I guess he wanted to throw me in over my head and see if I'd swim or die. And so, we went hammock camping, and we had a rain fly, but it wasn't going to rain. It was snow. So it got down to like 16 or 17 degrees. And we woke up, and on top of there was like snow coming down, and it was like frost everywhere. But honestly, I say just cozy. He had made an underquilt for me out of an old sleeping bag.
Oh,
I
nice.
think, he's very MacGyverish. And so anyway, so I stayed nice and cozy, and I had a one of those scarves that had like a little battery pack in it, so it like stayed warm. And so I had that, and I had hot hands in all the pockets. So I stayed pretty cozy, but yeah, hammock camping in the winter is something.
Yeah, it is. We had one guy do that during our Christmas tree hunt a couple of years ago. I was like, what? Like, I thought I was hardcore just sleeping in my Jeep.
Yeah.
But that's what's fun about the magazine. It's like there's something different every issue. And again, like, shout out, like, please, go to our website, northologyadventures.com. The current issue is always on the website on the first page.
You said it's Northology Adventures?
Yep.
Okay.
There'll be a little pop-up that wants you to sign up for the subscription. The subscription's free, and you'll get an email every month when the magazine comes out. And then sometimes our sponsors or advertisers will have like special offers or whatever just for subscribers. We do some subscribers drawings from time to time. We just gave away, this is so cool. We just gave away a Lifesaver jerry can that Jeremy with New Holland Overland worked on this giveaway with us. And thank you, Sean. Also, a couple of tickets to more and an Northology t-shirt. That was our giveaway last month.
I have never heard of this magazine.
What?
I'm gonna have to look it up.
How did you?
I knew of KOAR. I knew you were the queen of KOAR.
Well, and it's funny that when you sent me the questions, I was like, she didn't ask me any questions about the magazine.
Well, it's because, and I saw on your Instagram that it's Northology Adventures, and I was just like, oh, okay, maybe that's just something, like a side gig. No,
well, I guess it kind of is.
But you have many side gigs, but that's a big deal, girl. So you're like an editor and you're a coordinator, and so. Can you subscribe to this magazine? Tell me how I can.
Yeah, absolutely. If you go to northologyadventures.com, there's a little pop-up will come up and want you to subscribe.
Okay.
If you exit out, you can actually scroll down and there's a spot to enter.
So does it come in your email, or is it like a paper magazine that you get?
It comes to your email.
Okay.
We don't have a paper
print.
Yeah, we're not printing right now.
Who keeps that anyways? That's just it's wasting trees too.
I have a lot of people tell me I would really like this in print.
Well,
thank you, Jason. Yeah, and like for the More Expo, I put together the More Momentum magazine for Chris.
Yeah.
And I think people really, we got a lot of great feedback on that. It was nice to have something, I mean,
I'm super pumped.
Yeah. And then for KOAR, we did a KOAR guide. There were some articles in there. There was extensive what to do type of information. And again, we could have just done that digitally, but it's so nice to have that
at events like that.
To be able to flip through it. And, my dad wants to keep every one of them. And then, even just people that contribute, Jim with Off-Road Garage podcast. Sorry, I'm plugging another podcast on your podcast.
Do it. We're all in this together, girl.
He submitted an article on Expo East. And then one of the fellows that had a rig in there that he had taken a picture of, he contacted me. He's like, oh my God, is this in print? I need a copy, And I was like, well, it's not, but I'll send you like the PDF of the 2-page spread so you can print that out. But so it might be in the future. I mean, there's a lot of details to think
I'm
about
super excited. I'm gonna subscribe. You've got a new subscriber.
Thank you. Awesome.
I'm super pumped. I'm one of those people. I like take pictures of all the trips, and I like to read all of the people's input. Like I said, because like I just said, we are all in this together, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this podcast, is because I wanted to meet people behind the events, behind the vehicles, behind the everything, to get to know who you are and what made you do. Like your dad, like driving the Pinto to South Dakota. Like I want to hear those stories, and now I know about this magazine. So
Well, cool. Yeah, I'm glad. I think you'll like it. And actually, how do you not know about it? Your husband has contributed an article to my magazine.
I heard he has a YouTube channel too. You think I don't watch a lot of those videos?
Oh, geez. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Anyway,
I might need to subscribe to him too.
Just a shout out to Matt. Thank you so much for that article. I really loved the gist of how, if we're going to be going out into the woods and doing this, we need to know how to do it. Like that's something like in a lot of groups you see, oh, hey, thanks for the ad. Does anybody have any good routes or spots? I'm like,
every time.
I'm not going to tell you my fishing honey hole.
Yeah. We get that so many times. If I could tell you how many times people will message us, and I understand, because some people just don't understand how to put together a route. We totally get that. But it's also kind of like, I don't know, give us all your information without doing it. Sometimes it's,
Well, and this is the danger.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Like there's Matt right there. Very welcome. Don't feel bad. My wife really doesn't watch my videos.
I don't blame her. No.
I watched the one about KOAR.
Thank you. Yes. If you give somebody the coordinate, they may be responsible with it. But the friend that they brought may not. So you don't know what happens to that information. Now, a lot of times I've told people, heck yeah, Joey's articles are great too. And he had a really awesome article.
I didn't realize the rendezvous was in there.
Yeah, he did a Rendezvous in the Ozark recap for us. But yeah, where was I? Train of thought derailed. Oh yeah, like I won't tell you where it is, but I totally don't blame her. But I'll take you there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's totally, and that's another reason why we also, we got behind the whole Patreon thing, because we do have Patreon members, and a lot of those Patreon members are really, like, we've become family with them, and they have kind of the same values as us too. And that's how they get some of our locations. If they subscribe, that's what we tell people. If you become a Patreon member, at a certain.
That is so awesome that you mentioned that, and I will like to chat with you about that, because we just started a Patreon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and when we did, I had about.
I see a pupper. I see a little buddy.
I had about 6 messages that said about time, and for the longest time I was like, oh, YouTubers do the Patreon thing, But that's one of the things, like, I feel like if people are willing to support you and show that support, I feel so much better about giving that information and sharing that with someone.
Yes.
I think that obviously if you're going to support us in Patreon, you probably have a lot of the same values we do.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, our Patreon is listed on our website
at Northology Adventures, and so I will definitely check that out as well. So and you can go to Patreon, I'm sure, to find you. You can search for you.
Right. But yeah, that's a new thing that we did, and we were quite surprised that people were like willing to do that, but also that they had been almost waiting for opportunities, because the magazine's free.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not free to produce, but it's free.
No, it takes a lot of work.
There's a lot of stuff that we like to share, And I feel like, being a resource for the community and connecting people too, is a big part of what we do.
Oh, that's huge. It's
So,
huge because and not only that, for like vendors and stuff, like people are going to see something, they're going to be like, oh, I want that. And then they can go to that magazine and see who may be able to have that out there.
right. Oh, I'll tell you, one of the things for me that is so satisfying is to see people that meet at like KOAR, see them down the road working together, that I love that. And yeah, it's just, I told Chris from Hey Jake, that's one of our core team members. I told Chris from More Expo, like a rising tide floats all boats. There's room for everybody here.
Yeah.
And it's just a great community, and I'm so blessed and thankful to be a part of it. And I never forget, who is out there supporting me. And I just want the magazine and the events to be awesome for the participants or the readers, and also for the people that support it. I want them to get something out of it.
I'm not kidding. I'm excited. I'm going to go check that out as soon as I get off of here and
Thank
upload
you.
the podcast. Because I want to see now what it's all about. Now that I know what it is.
Shame on you, Matt.
I know.
Yeah, nice sweatshirt there, man.
I know.
That's awesome.
I'm ripping something and I don't even know.
Well, and it's funny because we have an online store. We do this every once in a while where Uper shirts, we give them a few designs and they run an online store.
Yeah.
I never know who orders anything. They don't send me a list. Yeah. And I'll see one of my friends or somebody pop up in a picture with like a shirt on that they didn't buy directly from me. And I'm like, oh, that was a Uper shirts thing. That's so cool. So thank you to everybody that does that. I don't know who does that. And if you want to, please take a picture of yourself in one of our shirts and post it. We would love that. And we'll
hashtag it.
Share it. Hashtag it. Yeah.
Share and hashtag and all the social things.
So yeah, it's fun. We are, like I said, we're so totally blessed and thankful for all the awesome friends and all the people in this community. And good old choked up again.
I know, and I think that you said it perfectly when you said, what did you say? A rising tide floats all boats.
Yep.
Love that, because that's so true. And if we all had that same mentality, we would get so much further than where we would if we were just doing things on our own.
Oh, yeah. I see it like in some of the local, like off-road shops, or, some of the local stores, some of the local outfitters that have like an adversarial. Everyone's out to get me. So I have to be defensive and, go even sometimes on the offense.
Yeah.
But
no. We should be all on this, all supporting each other, and that's why I'm like mentioning all the people. That way, I mean, everybody's going to be closer to somebody else. It's not always about yourself.
Right.
But anyway, so okay, we know we can find you on NorthologyAdventures.com, and you're going to be at KOAR next September 15th through the 18th.
Yep.
Anything else that we can do? Patreon is also available for you. Give us a quick rundown of what's going on next in your world before we end the show.
Next in my world, I think we might be planning a large event in the spring, early summer, in somewhere in the UP.
Really?
Yes, somewhere that has mountain biking and whitewater rafting and hiking and climbing and trails for off-road.
Okay, you're going to have to give us more info later on that.
Later.
How can we find out more of this? Is it going to be on NorthologyAdventures.com?
Anything I do or we do will be on NorthologyAdventures.com eventually. Yeah.
So So follow your Facebook channel as well. Do you have a
Yeah.
Facebook page?
Yeah, we have a Facebook
Okay.
page. It's on Facebook. It's so I just totally completely messed up some things early on. So there's Northology Overland on Facebook. That's basically our adventures thing.
Yeah.
And then on Instagram, it's Northology Adventures. I also do have a Northology, just plain old Northology Facebook and Instagram that don't
So
really have
like all the things and you
yeah. The plain Northology one though isn't getting a lot of attention
well.
to right now because I'm doing some kind of like some strategic planning for how we're gonna engage those channels.
Yeah.
And yeah, there might be an app in the future. I've been working on that as well. Like just
Girl.
a guide to everything.
Little
up
did I know,
north.
and that would be
Yeah.
a great place for also the letter, because you can put
Magazine.
it all through there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun, but it's also like a tall order.
Yeah. That's why
So
you need the support. I
yeah, and
totally
you know, it's
understand.
funny now that you say that. I like had this little list of things like, oh, when I'm talking to Cara, I have to make sure I mention these
Yes.
things.
You pull out your notebook, Cindy Pope.
Oh, in the magazine right now, there is an awesome gift guide for overlanders and adventurers. And I want to shout out really quick just a few of the super supporters of the gift guide.
Okay.
Max Built, Bead Lockers, Tembo Tusk, Dead Miners, Fresh Coast Cabins, New Holland Overland, and All Things Overlanding. Had a big part in supporting the little gift guide section that's in there.
Little
Lots
did
of
we
cool
know.
stuff.
I wonder what Fletch recommends for gift giving. I
He's
wonder
got
if
a
he
few-
recommends a low riding car.
I don't think he would recommend that. He sent me a message before KOAR. He's like, "You are not going to believe what I'm showing up to KOAR in," and I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "I can't tell you anymore."
It'll be a
So.
surprise.
Oh my god, like him and Matt and Matt McClellan and Matt Fry and Jeremiah and all just like Rob Miller was there. I didn't even know you were there. And Brandon, or I'm sorry, Braxton. I call him Brandon. Braxton with Welcome to the Outdoors. All those fun YouTube people. They had so much fun. It was so crazy. Yeah. And so much good video came out of that. And thank you guys. Thank all.
Oh, they had such a blast.
Awesome YouTubers.
It was basically like a YouTubers hangout.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because at one point I had asked a friend locally, like who's into media and audio and video, all this video stuff, and I had asked him for some advice about that, and then I completely ignored all of his advice. And actually, that's when Jeremiah started doing our video, and so I ran into him later. I'm like, dude, I totally found out how to do the video for the brand and for the event. He's like, oh. I'm like, get somebody else to do it.
Perfect thing.
So the people that are already doing it and much better at it than me, just
it's one thing. It's one thing less off of your plate.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Jeremiah is amazing. He's an amazing person.
Yeah,
he's great.
Yeah, he's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's pretty great. So when are you coming to the Ozarks, Cindy?
You know, I really like to. I think it's on the list for 2022. Just get some vehicle things straightened out. Okay. And Matt, everybody says that, but it's just, I wouldn't, I don't know. Do we want 900 people at KOAR? The town of Copper Harbor, the year-round population is 80.
Yeah.
80. I mean, in the summer, there's tourists, they hire more people, the stores are
that could be a whole conversation itself. Like how do you grow without the pains of growing?
Well, one thing we did an experiment this year is we did release some day passes. And we had some success with that. And I do want to increase the value for the vendors. I mean, we do have new people come in, it's not this exact same people every year, but this next year we're going to release a lot more day passes so people can come up for just Friday or just Saturday or both days, and they don't have to. I mean, the Trails End Campground is absolutely gorgeous. Most of the campsites are, little coves in the trees,
Right.
and some of them are open on the lake. So there's like finite, it's not like a big field where you could squeeze more
Right.
people in there.
Right.
So and even just the local folks, I'm sure that some of the people in town will be like, hey, let's go check out this thing that's going on. Oh, this overland, what check out the rigs. So I think adding the day passes is going to be good. And then people can come up and they can camp at the other campgrounds in the area, or they can go do the dispersed camping thing.
Yeah.
And they can come in for the day and enjoy, the afternoon, go to the vendor village. We have music at night and little giveaways and stuff. So
Yeah.
I think that's how we're going to grow for 2022. And I think that, adding a second event, it may not be in Copper Harbor, but we'll add a second event that's not exactly a carbon copy. It's going to be a little different, but giving
I think
people,
that's good and that it gives people a variety. Like if they can't come in the winter, they can come in the off season, like the spring or the summer.
Yeah, I think we'll do one early in the year, so you don't have to wait all summer to go to the UP.
Yeah. Because then that may cut down on a lot of people coming in at one time too.
Yeah, they may be like, oh, do we go in June or do we go in September?
Then
Maybe
you may have
June
people
works
that go
better.
both.
Yeah, that's true. There will be. There will be.
I know if it's in our plans, we just may be those people.
You won't regret it. I kid you not. It's amazing, and I get up there as much as I can. It's really cool. So
is Copper Harbor or up north? Someone asked, are you open all winter? I'm assuming they mean like up to go to the events and stuff. Can you go off-roading and that kind of stuff? That's what I'm assuming that she means.
Marianne, I would say the UP is open all winter, but not so much for off-road activities. There's so much snow. A lot of the trails are snowmobile trails in the winter. And it's just really hard to get over the plow berm that's like 6 feet tall and then go on a road that's not maintained. In fact, there's a Northern Michigan University does a spring opener in April every year. And now I'm telling you, April, you'd think the snow would be all gone. It's not gone till May.
Oh my gosh.
And so one April, I had some friends that went to the spring opener and they're like, it took us 2 hours to go 100 yards. We're done. It's just, and by that time, it's all like concrete too.
That sounds like Pritchett Canyon.
I have not been there, but I know where you're talking about.
Oh, anytime anybody says that they can't travel that far and it takes so many hours, I just immediately think Pritchett because it was just a nightmare. But anyways.
Yep.
But thank you so much for coming on my show.
Thanks for having me.
I learned some things. I learned you have a whole, magazine that I didn't know about. And I heard that you're going to have some special for the spring. I'm really excited.
Cool. Well, I'm excited to have you up here. Like, if you don't look me up when you come up north, I'm going to blame Matt.
You will. You should blame everything on him.
Yeah.
But no, I'm seriously immediately going to go to northologyadventures.com and sign up on that newsletter. I'm super pumped.
Awesome.
So I appreciate that for sharing that with us. But
thank you.
All righty. Well, thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in to Wonder, Repeat with Cindy Pope and Northology Adventures, and also the Keweenaw Overland Adventure Retreat Coordinator and her beautiful little puppers right
This
here.
Is Daisy.
Say hi, Daisy.
Hi, Daisy. She just woke up.
Thank you so much. Y'all have a great afternoon. Bye.